For the past few weeks, I've been playing Wave 2 of the Splatoon 3 expansion pass, Side Order, and I haven't been able to put it down. I'm really happy to say this too, because I came into Side Order with some heavy reservations. I never had a question about the DLC's style and presentation. The Splatoon series always scores an A+ in that regard, but I wasn't the biggest fan of the idea that Splatoon 3's story DLC was going to be a run-based mode designed to play over and over again, in the same vein as something like Hades or the Tower of Doom DLC in Mario + Rabbids Sparks of Hope. I have nothing inherently against this genre, but it seemed like a natural step down from the big and vast set of Octo expansion levels from Splatoon 2. And while I was right that Side Order isn't quite as expansive, the smaller package on offer here is so fun and polished, it's hard to find a flaw or a regret. Side Order is what many would classify as a roguelite. It's run-based, with each attempt up the Tower of Order's 30 floors being a clean slate. But during each attempt, if you make it past enough floors, you'll collect a type of currency called pearls. Pearls allow you to purchase permanent upgrades called hacks, which greatly help with subsequent attempts up the tower. Pearls can buy things like extra lives, increased damage and resistance, along with a variety of other extremely useful effects. Pearls allow for even failed runs up the tower to still feel like progress, as you can cash them in between attempts to buy hacks, shoring up some of your weaknesses. As I'm not the greatest Splatoon player, hacks were really appreciated. It felt rewarding to earn enough hacks to allow me to compete with what the tower was throwing at me, and it was at this point when I activated several of the hacks when I really started to gain confidence and enjoy Side Order for what it was. The pallet you choose before each run is the main weapon you'll need to run through all 30 floors with. It's also a blank canvas for you to fill with various color chips. You'll select one of 3 potential color chip options prior to entering each floor. Each one offers a different effect that will strengthen your character for the rest of the run. These color chips come in various shades which correspond to the effects they provide. Red chips increase damage output, purple contains support attributes like ink saving effects, and so on. Yellow color chips help to extend the lucky chain, which increases as you defeat enemies and ultimately leads to more helpful items being dropped. Over time, I learned that, for me, the most effective strategy is rushing the yellow color chips and trying to build my character around increased item drops and lucky bombs. Doing this always keeps me topped off with things like ink tanks, extra armor, and filling my special gauge, allowing me to, essentially, have my special ready at any time, which can be a lifesaver. My first winning build for Side Order was a lucky bomb strategy, and I've formed a habit of building like that ever since. Another new addition to Side Order is the Pearl Drone, an AI companion that not only gives Agent 8 a glide for increased mobility, but also wields a variety of sub-weapons and specials, using them automatically whenever her gauge is filled. At first, I didn't know how effective a CPU sidekick would actually be, but I found the Pearl Drone to be fairly smart and accurate about how and when she helps out. She can be pretty reliable and clutch in many scenarios, and I found building around your drone's abilities to be a valid strategy. We also need to talk in more detail about lucky bombs, which are probably my favorite way to build up a pallet in Side Order. These are small white orbs that have a random chance to drop after enemies are defeated. Lucky bombs explode in a ink blast, damaging the other enemies around them. Having lucky bombs drop more often makes clearing large waves of enemies much quicker, and it's so satisfying when they pop. I pretty much take lucky bombs instantly when I see that color chip come up, and for me, it helps tremendously. Selecting color chips on each floor is where the real fun comes in. Not only does it allow you to strategize on how to build, but you also get this exciting risk reward. Maybe you're given the option to choose a hard or rigorous floor early on in the run, which offers a really strong color chip effect as its reward. It'll get you thinking, maybe I can give it my all to clear this, and after, I'll be set for pretty much the rest of the early game with a really strong color chip perk. And it's not only new color chips you'll gain each floor. You'll also earn a second currency called Membucks, with which you can purchase helpful items on vending machine floors. Vending machines are extremely helpful, as their primary focus is a life reset if you happen to need it. If a tough early floor wipes out a few of your lives, you'll find yourself wishing for a vending machine floor to allow you to purchase back your extra lives, and more than likely salvage the entire run. One thing I will say about Side Order is that after a while you will see the same floors, or at least floors that feel very similar to one another. While it's not a huge problem, especially when you're going through with different builds and weapons, I could see it growing tiresome once you've gone through with all the pallets. That being said, Side Order does do a good job at adding in some randomness to floors without it being too overbearing. Sometimes you'll face the same floor layout, but it's filled with different enemy types. Other times you'll get a danger floor, which adds an additional obstacle or handicap, like making you complete it in total darkness, or having an entire floor start covered in enemy ink. Some floors can take away the color chips you work so hard to get, and others handicap you in different ways, like shutting off the use of your drone, forcing you to go into it considerably weaker. This whole thing is really smart, and it helps so much with the mode's replay value. The difficulty is where my biggest questions about Side Order arise. The mode, I think is perfect, but what you have to know is I'm not a master Splatoon player. When I customize my hacks correctly, it has just the right amount of challenge for me. It feels super intense at times, and those times when I build my character efficiently, I feel like an absolute force to be reckoned with, and that's a ton of fun. Hacks are definitely the saving grace of Side Order. Spending pearls to add some crucial hacks allowed a player like me to overcome the tower's difficulty and clear it, but a more experienced player might use minimal or no hacks to get the right amount of challenge for them. I can only wonder if for some really great Splatoon players, even going hackless is too easy, thus trivializing the entire mode. I guess that's for someone else to say, and if there are any good Splatoon players watching, I'd love it if you left a comment letting me know your thoughts on this. As I mentioned, I can only speak from a casual perspective, and for me, Side Order is incredible. I'm still completely addicted to it, and I'm likely going to complete all the pallets for no other reason than it's just fun to keep on playing. I know it's early, but it's the best game I've played all year. That's how good it is. And I'm actually amazed that I'm even saying that right now, because I didn't think I'd enjoy it nearly as much as I am. I spent years eagerly anticipating an Octo expansion too, and Side Order certainly isn't that. Is it better than Octo expansion? Probably not, but it's such a polished and high quality satisfying offering, and another reminder to myself to never doubt Nintendo. They always bring something new to the table, and that's part of the magic. This time, they brought out a Side Order that rivals the main course, and if it is the final cap on the single player content of Splatoon 3, I think we're leaving it in a very good place.